So Thomas, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So first things first, tell us your name. What do you do?
My name is Thomas Carlson. I'm the CEO of Omnitas Consulting, which is the world's oldest and biggest Money.com partner.
Amazing. And what is Omnitas, if I may ask?
We call ourselves a digital management consultancy agency, just to make sure that we have some kind of fancy category around it.
That's a must.
But in the core of things, what we do is we help our clients leverage software to optimize their workflows and processes. Um, Monday tends to be the primary vehicle that we use, and we're not partnered with any other software. So Monday is definitely the tool that we always use. Um, with that, because we're focusing on workflows and optimization, we are industry, use case, and vertical agnostic.
Very nice. I guess that was the purpose of Monday in the first place, to be as agnostic as
Exactly.
possible.
And
Uh,
one of the reasons why we chose Monday was because we don't have any developers, but we still wanted to be able to have a system that could be adaptable to the existing processes and still, of course, help the client tweak them to make them better and more proficient. So Monday was the clear choice in that regards, instead of having like 20, 30, 40 developers as well and always something bespoke.
Very nice. And so I mentioned briefly before the call that I already had a few conversations like this, and I got from the previous people I talked to that there's kind of they start serving certain as like a direction of customers, and then because they already have the proof of concept, it leads them to kind of a specific industry. Do you have anything like that, like a
No, we really don't have anything like that. We're going the opposite direction, right? I think there's not a single use case that we haven't already at least once executed in Monday. And we want to be this broad, full service agency from a Monday perspective. We don't want to have that niche. Everybody should be able to come to us. And that's the beauty when you actually focus on the workflows, because it doesn't matter if it's a sales process, marketing and campaign planning, or post production planning. You understand a workflow in exactly the same way and you execute it in exactly the same way. Um, so we are workflow experts. That's our niche.
got it? And I don't know, it just kind of occurred to me. Obviously, you're located in Sweden. A few other partners I spoke with were from the US. Um, I'm guessing you get to work with global partners. Uh,
Yeah,
and do you see maybe certain differences or something that comes to mind when working in different markets?
definitely. So we are headquartered in Stockholm, Sweden. We're servicing the whole Nordics and also part of Europe, obviously. And then we also have a branch in the UK with dedicated personnel in London. Uh, but 25% of our portfolio sits in the US. So we definitely see a lot of differences. The biggest differences, to be honest, is actually in how the different nations buy software.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, it's really, really fun, cool actually. Uh, for a lot of Americans, like doing like deep exploratories, have like taking your time. They don't have the patience for it. You need to be a lot quicker, for example. Unless we talk about the really huge companies, of course, because they're always slow moving. But if you look at like the partner network, I think it's even more important in the US because that's where I see the most of the partners that are specialized and are niched because it's a very competitive market as well, of course. So you need to find your little piece of the cake.
Got it. Very interesting. Yeah, these cultural differences, we also work with obviously people all over the world, and so it's very interesting. So, uh, people approach you from all over, as you said. Uh, why you? Like, what is like that you service that maybe other partners don't, or maybe just in general?
So we have basically two type of clients. The clients that approach us because they're already using Monday and they realize that they're not proficient enough on their own, or they don't have the time on their own, so they want to have a partner. Then they go and start searching, and they find a lot of our material. So it's like, it looks like you're the best. We want to work with the best. It doesn't matter if you're local or not. Um, and then the other ones are the ones where we actually come in really early, where they haven't even selected a software. They come to us and say, this is my pain points, these are my challenges, I'm trying to achieve this with my business. How should we do that in the best way?
Got it. And that's obviously when you think of Monday as
Yeah.
a solution.
And
Uh,
obviously we prefer the latter ones, but if it's an already existing Monday client, they're always welcome to come to us. Of course, we do a lot of those projects every year or every month.
yeah. And so you think of all these clients and stories, I'm sure. Is there something that comes to mind, like an interesting story that a customer used Monday, or just in general, maybe a challenge that they faced which was different than others?
I think the biggest one that stands out for me, without mentioning the company, not from a CRM perspective, but in general from a Monday perspective, uh, gambling company, these gambling websites, betting sites, obviously means that they have a lot of developers. So Jira was very influential in their organization, which meant that marketing had to use Jira as well. But if you have 4 products, 52 markets, and each product and each market needs individual assets, imagine that campaign intake project process where you're trying to design those campaigns, and they had hacked Jira to like the maximum. And every second time they tried to launch a new campaign, it failed, right? So they came to us and said, we have been looking for a software to replace Jira for the marketing team for 7 years, and we haven't found anything yet. And the cool thing is that we did like an 80-hour implementation project to solve all of that with Monday Work Management. So
Very
that's
cool.
one of those like feel good, like
Yeah,
we actually
for
did
sure.
something good, and it didn't cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was like an 80-hour project, and they've been struggling with this for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that makes me really happy to know that we had those situations. I also have a very small client in the US. They were looking at, they had already started using Monday as a very light CRM. They were selling a tool for plastic surgeons. And they were phone calling, like cold calling other plastic surgeons, trying to pitch their product, and then using Monday CRM to basically as a cold calling list. But the challenge was that they had about 4 to 6 hours of admin after each sale. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
somebody's sales rep. So imagine how much time you were wasting, right? So in that project, we only did a few minor tweaks in their Monday setup, but basically when they said like we have an acceptance, what we did, we created a cart in QuickBooks. We got the payment link. We automatically made so it sent them an email saying thank you for wanting to purchase our product. Here's the payment link. When they paid, it updated the status in Monday to paid. And then we pulled out all the data, filled out the drop shipping form on their behalf, and sent it to the drop shipping form. So they went from 4 to 6 hour post sales admin to 0 seconds post sales admin.
Incredible.
And this project cost them 20 hours.
Right.
And
Yeah,
they were like a 10-man operations for them. Imagine like the effect. And
of
that's
course.
the
It's like hiring another
like,
person, and yeah,
of course, we work with the hundreds of thousand employee companies as well, but it's usually with the smaller companies that you have these really awesome success stories where we helped someone achieve their business goals in a totally different way.
incredible. So yeah, so obviously you just said that there's with a few tweaks you can do so much. Is there like a feature or capability of Monday that it's like, that's your go-to thing. You like using that one.
So there's a lot of awesome features, but I think if I start on a higher level first, I think the whole idea of not having sub-menus, sub-objects in that sense, like working in Monday is efficient, like especially if you look at it from a CRM perspective. There's so many less clicks to do something on an opportunity, to update an opportunity, to add a note. If I were to compare to some of the monolithic softwares, if I wanted to add a note to an opportunity, I think it's like 5 clicks. In Monday, it's one, right? And
Yeah.
stuff like that really helps. Feature-wise, I mean, the new workflows is really amazing. We are doing some crazy stuff with workflows, to be honest. When we got the sequences for CRM, that's really awesome as well. Really looking forward to the email marketing modules that's getting released. That's going to be a total game changer as well. Uh, but it's the quality of the feature and how they actually are interconnected, because there's other work collaboration tools that have the same feature sets, but they sort of operate more isolated, whereas
Right.
here we can connect them together. And we have a very decent like building blocks, which allows us to do almost anything.
Yeah, I obviously agree. But that's the big, that's the big appeal to have all this connected. What would you say like people are usually looking for like a go-to move, but the opposite, like a not go-to move. In general, when people are using different CRMs, is there something that you come in, you see, and you're like, wow, why is everybody doing this? Or,
Yeah, so obviously, if we talk in general, I think the word CRM has morphed over the years, and especially when you look at like requirement documents from some companies, it's like half of this list is not even CRM. Like they want like website visits, traffic data pulled back in, and so on and so forth. And I think that one of the key things with, especially if we talk about Monday as a CRM, is keep it simple, keep it to the core so we can actually focus on what's important. If you want to analyze your website traffic, there's plenty of great tools for that that are visual dashboards and stuff like that. So, but actually, I think the craziest CRM setup I've seen. So this was a client of ours now. When they came to us, they said like, yeah, we're having some issues with adoption. Like nobody wants to use the CRM. It's like, okay, show me what you've done. And they have a very small book of business, right? But they do a lot of business against the same companies. So they had 12 boards. Each board was a company. The items in that board was the contact people, and they were using sub items for the different opportunities.
okay.
And then they were kind of pissed that they couldn't get good reports, they couldn't aggregate data, they couldn't get a holistic company view. So that was probably the weirdest CRM setup I've seen ever.
Well, I guess the big plus is that you can build whatever you want, but then if someone's a bit confused, they might build something like a
Yeah.
Frankenstein monster kind of situation, and you're
But I totally understand their logic. Like we have these
yeah,
companies, that's all we work with. So it's actually the people in the company that should be the focal point. And that's fine, but you can still have a traditional opportunity in contact setup. But instead of having the company as your main connector for the opportunity, you use the contacts, right? So you can still use, you should probably always use the more traditional hierarchy and elements of the CRM. They're there for a reason.
got it. And so that actually leads me to the next question. We When you come in, there's a new client comes into approaches you, and you start a project. What is this like the audit process that you do? What's the first things you look at? And just to kind of map out the issue.
Yeah, so first of all, before we even take them on, we from a CRM consultancy perspective, we check two things. One is like, what's the volume of companies, contacts, opportunities, and so on, right? Because yes, there's still some volume limitations with MondayDB 3.0. That's going to be totally changed, but there is something that we need to consider. There's workarounds, but there's also like we get to a certain point where workarounds are not even viable either, right? And the other thing that we're also looking into very much in the beginning is, are you are you leveraging email marketing as your main lead acquisition strategy? Because if you are, currently, Monday CRM might not be the solution that you need actually. So that's why
Mhm.
I'm really excited about the email marketing, because this allows us to totally change that conversation, to totally change that competitive landscape from that perspective. But that's the first thing that we check, right? Um, and then, of course, we audit their setup, trying to understand what other elements do you have in your CRM, because there's usually a migration, and it's very easy. We did this error in the beginning as well. Said, yeah, no worries, we can migrate all your data. But then one client had all their contracts in their CRM as well. Another client had all the project data in their CRM as well, and so on and so forth. So really like check what kind of elements and object types do you have in your CRM is really, really critical.
Very, very cool and interesting. And so a little bit of a different question there. CRM obviously mostly used by salespeople, and the funnel and everything that you just mentioned with the emails. What's kind of a, I don't know, maybe a hot take or something that you see from a sales perspective? Obviously, you're seeing usually when you talk to salespeople, they talk about tips and tricks on how to cold call or how to close a deal, but you see the entire admin process.
Yeah.
And so what do you see there? Maybe a hot take or something that maybe you have an insight that you would like to share.
Oh, actually, I think that if we're gonna go really hot take, I think that sales organizations should start looking into Monday service as a vehicle to help in the sales process.
Okay.
Because with Monday service, with the portal functionality, you can actually build microsites with all the collaterals and sales information that it needs. So you can give a very professional impression. You can basically have your whole product offering in the platform, and you also have the forms. You can literally go, do you want to order this shit? So
Yeah.
having utilizing Monday service as a complement to your normal sales activities with cold calling, meetings, and so on, like literally introducing prospects, but also existing clients to the portal. I think it's going to be a great tool to use. Um, Traditionally, you will have to say, okay, I know that the client is interested in X, Y, and Z. We have this collateral library. I'm pulling those out. I'm attaching them to an email. I'm sending them. With Monday Portal, you can work in a totally different way. And also, even if you did a bad exploratory, the client still has access to everything.
I like this. I kind of wrote me a note to talk to the team internally because I wasn't even aware of this kind of avenue. So
Yeah.
that's great. So let's wrap it up with the final question, which is, how do you define success? You come in, there's a project. Um, what is your KPIs or the way you measure success with your clients?
Oh, it's a very big question. Usually it's actually client specific. Um, a lot of clients, when especially we talk about CRM, they're like, yeah, we lost a deal last month that was super big and that's no good. And say, okay, how many of those do you lose? Like we don't know because we're not tracking it properly, right? So it's a lot of things is about getting that insight. Um, so a lot of the times, it's about, if we talk more in general, it's about how can we minimize the admin time for the sales reps, right? Let's make sure we reduce that drastically. Do we see an increase in cold calling if that's something you do? Do we see an increase in like sales rep activities, how many meetings they have? Uh, can we follow up on forecasting better? Because that's a big problem. Even if you're using like the more expensive CRMs, a lot of organizations don't know how to properly forecast in them because the dashboard functionalities in those kind of tools are not as intuitive as in Monday, and you don't want to pay a consultant to build your forecasting. So you just, you know how you'd be surprised how many times we talk to members, users of these monolithic CRMs where they say, yeah, every Friday I export the opportunities into Excel and then I do my forecasting there. So like, okay, so
Kind of beats the purpose.
you're a sales leader wasting like 4 to 6 hours on a Friday just to get a report. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good time spent, right? Um, so when it comes to CRM, obviously everybody would like to say, yeah, we make sure that the client wins more deals. But usually it's actually the contrary. When you have a good, simple CRM setup, you're actually going to have more leads, more opportunities that actually get registered. So it's actually more likely that you're going to see a decrease in your win percentage because all of the opportunities are actually registered. If you look at the more traditional, more heavily admin, you tend to have very late registrations. Like we're basically in agreement, so now I'm registering the opportunity. Look at me, I have 100% close rate.
Yeah.
um, so close rate and stuff like that is usually not KPIs that we try to work with because um,
But just to clarify, sorry to cut you off. You're saying you might see lower numbers, but actual clarity and the actual
the numbers
right
are more real, right?
picture,
They
yeah, the
represent
more accurate,
reality,
exactly. And
which,
then
which is good in its turn, right?
yeah, so then you can't measure the success because suddenly it's as if you impacted badly on the organization, but
Yeah,
that's not a fair assessment of the
no,
situation.
yeah. So what
Yeah,
we
that's
could
that's
look at,
a really good point, actually. Yeah.
so if we want to use a KPI for that, we would say, okay, how many ops is registered per month after the switch? Do you see that number going up?
Yeah.
That would be a more fair KPI to follow, for example. That shows that there's adoption, that people are using it, and they feel like it's easy to use. Um, and obviously, I mean, there's a lot of built-in stuff as well now that really helps with these like sales follow-ups. So it's about utilizing them as well within the CRM that we have.
Amazing. All amazing. Sounds really cool and yeah, there's like we can talk about this hours and endlessly and there's a million ways to build with these
Yeah,
building blocks. But Thomas, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate the insight. And I'm sure it sounds like your clients are in good hands.
thank you.